morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am so fabulous. It should be illegal.
Oh, well, that's amazing. I like to hear that. That works for me. We got lots to talk about today. So, good morning and welcome everyone to the Dark Roast. I'm Dawna Strohl and I'm here with the beautiful and talented Rose Short. And
Good
today
morning.
we are going to talk about overcoming analysis paralysis. All right. So,
Yes.
it's
Sorry,
going to be no problem. So, we're going to be talking about taking action. We're going to discuss what it is, how to take action, and then because it's all part of the analysis. So we're going to get into some of the technical as well as just the mental load that comes with it.
Yes. Analytics are super important. I think a lot of people get scared by them.
Yep. That's why I wanted to make sure that we had a section specifically dedicated towards that.
Yes.
So let's start off with actually understanding what analysis paralysis is.
Yeah, it's really simple. It's overthinking, right? It's overthinking or not understanding and getting overwhelmed by what you're looking at, so much so that you just stop and can't make a decision.
Yeah, and it's the ultimate productivity killer, right? Like you want to do stuff, but your brain is stuck in because you're too busy thinking, am I doing this right? Or am I doing that right? Or did I say the right thing? Or even if it's your videos, right? Like it's another thing where you're overthinking everything. The what ifs. Yeah, what if? My daughter lived in a land of what if for quite a while. And I would say, so what if the sky is green and unicorns ran everywhere and, gumdrops fell from the sky? What if? Who cares, right? Let's live into what is.
I see. I'm the opposite. I hate the what if game. I refuse to play it because a lot of times what if for me reflects regret from other people. And I'm like, you made the decision. Don't regret it. It brought you where you are. So like I live in a no regrets mindset. And what if to me is that like regret thing. So I totally don't do it. A lot of people do, and a lot of people again like overthink, and especially when it comes to let's say ads, right? Let's say your ads aren't really performing well, and it's like, well, is it my copy? Is it my creative? Is it my audience? Is it the country that I'm in? Is it am I not putting enough money in? Am I not using the right tags? Like there's so many things that people get confused by. And it's understandable because there's a lot to look at. But once you actually understand the data and how to process the data, it makes it a lot easier. And Donna's frozen on my end. I don't know if I'm the one that's frozen on her end or what. We just lost her. I'm going to go ahead and keep going while she goes ahead and tries to come back in then. So analysis paralysis can be super annoying, but it's not just annoying. It's also incredibly costly, right? And not just money. It costs time, costs energy, it costs all kinds of things like that. So one of the biggest costs is the cost of inaction. So if you're stuck in paralysis, you're probably losing out on opportunities. You're probably losing out on really being able to learn and grow and test because you just stop and you just let it run its course. And stress and anxiety can come with that. And again, we always say that time is money, which I don't agree with. I think time is freedom, and we get that freedom through money. If you're considering time as money, then it can be very detrimental. And she's back.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
I wasn't sure. Yes.
So basically, my power just went out. So now I'm on my phone.
That explains. I wasn't sure if I was actually the one that was having issues, and so you looked frozen. So
no, it's me. My power went out. My computer is currently still working because I'm on a UPS system, but if it doesn't straighten out soon, I'm going to have to turn it off too.
Gotcha. I went on to the cost of inaction.
Oh, okay. So let me just catch up. So where were you at? Just letting them know what it is.
Letting them know what it is, and that can be stressful. But the more you delay, the more stressful it gets.
You get into that guilt feeling that nags in the back of your head where it's like, I should be doing, I should have this, I should, right? But should my ass, right? I can't even should myself. I should myself, and I'm like, you should shut up. And I still feel guilty. So it also it can really stop your ability to grow. Overthinking something as simple as your reels, right? You're overthinking your reels, and then you never put one forth because you're thinking, well, what if I do this wrong? Or what if I say that wrong? Or what if it doesn't look right? I was an absolute, I had a problem with it. 100%. I had this in my head that I needed to be perfect. And going live really helped that for me, right? Because I took the action. And that's where we move on to next is actionable steps to break free from that whole analysis paralysis. All right. And so the first step would be to set clear goals. Find what it is that you want to do. What's the one thing that you want to get done right now? What's one goal that you want to achieve right now? Whether it's increasing your website traffic or boosting conversions or just getting that reel done. It doesn't have to be really big. It can be really small, but small steps get you where you need to go.
Yeah, and that's why we always suggest to break it down, right? If you're looking at the top of the mountain and going, cool, I need to get there, and nothing. But if you look at the top of the mountain and go, okay, well, I need to get over this rock. Okay, now I need to climb up this rock. Now I need to climb up this rock. It makes it a whole lot more easy and a whole lot more attainable. So breaking it down into smaller bite-sized tasks is super, super important.
Absolutely. And you hear marathoners say that all the time, especially when they're getting towards the end. And if it's been a particularly grueling, they're like, just 5 more feet, just 5 more feet, just 5 more feet. When I climbed the mountain in Vancouver, we went up Grouse Mountain. It was my first time. You know, I'm not super sporty gal, but I agreed to climb a mountain because I was insane. And as we were getting towards the end, it was like, just get up this part. Just get up this part. And each time, just get up. First, it was like, just make it to the quarter way mark, and then the halfway mark. And then it was like, just make it up to there. Just make it up to there. But in the end, I climbed a mountain. How exciting was it for me, right? So,
right.
And then the next thing, you do that with cycling?
Yeah. So if I'm looking up at the hill I'm climbing, I'm just like, this is going to suck. So I just look down, because when you're looking down, you can't tell that you're on an incline. So you know,
that's right. And I'm focused on this here right now. The next thing you want to do is limit your options.
Yeah, for sure. Pick 1 or 2 themes, maybe even 3 that align with that goal, and then start focusing on that. So if you're trying to drive traffic, then you need to focus on probably your SEO and your social media, and maybe your emails or blog or whatever it might be, right? So figure out what can assist with that goal and go from there, instead of being like, oh, I need to drive traffic. So clearly I need to do a whole new video that explains better about this. And then I need to, okay, all these 30 other things, just focus on a few things, because if you tweak 30 things at once and it starts working, you're never going to know what it was that started working. And sometimes it's as simple as a headline on your landing page or a headline on your ad. But doing it one at a time, 1, makes it more manageable and easier, and 2, lets you know exactly what is working. Yes. So this is one that you talked about before, about being a perfectionist versus embracing imperfection.
So we always want everything to be the best, always, in every possible way, because it's a reflection of us, right? So we get concerned and we want to make sure everything's right. But taking action requires not worrying about whether or not it's perfect. Right? Because the more we try to be perfect, the longer it's going to take us to get where we want to go. And the more likely we're not going to do anything because it's not perfect.
Yep. Which also leads into time management and time blocking.
This is such a good tool. Such a good tool. I find that I do tend to get stuff done if I actually time block. Oh, can you hear the rain?
Not quite.
Well, that's good, because to me it's loud.
I'm just jealous you're getting rain.
Today is an adventure.
It is, yes. And with time blocking, it's the same as setting goals, right? Start small and be very specific. If you're going, okay, I'm going to have 30 minutes to dedicate to my entire business plan. What does that mean? Yeah. What does that look like?
Writing the first chapter, going over and doing some research. What is that? And it's okay to have 15-minute blocks, right? Because maybe that's all you can focus. And maybe you'll want to add another 15. You can do that. It's your time blocking, so you can adjust as needed. It doesn't necessarily, but I wrote this down, so it has to be this. Whatever.
Yep.
I'm all about flexibility, because if you try to force yourself too hard into something that's not fitting, you're just going to end up bruised all over the place and not want to do it. So,
yep. And that's why next one is so important. And I am such a fan of it. And I even wrote an entire journal to help people doing a specific theme with this. And that is track your progress with everything, right? It doesn't matter what it is. We track our food, we track our workouts, but there's so much stuff that we should be tracking that we don't. And this is one of those.
Especially if you're looking to grow from that space, right? If you want to grow from from wherever you are to whatever it is you're trying to achieve, tracking allows you to see where you've got progress. It also lets you see where maybe you're having struggles. And that's, again, like you say, whether it's with your food or your business, maybe you're deciding to watch less TV, right? So you've set your goal. I'm going to spend less time attached to the boob tube or doom scrolling. Great. So now you need to track that time and make sure that to see where you tend to fall in. Maybe it's an emotional response. You never know.
Yeah. Well, and by doing that too, it makes it a lot easier to seek support, right? Because so often people think, this isn't working, I need a mentor. And then you meet with somebody, they're like, oh, what are your pain points? And you're like, the thing is not doing the thing, which tells nobody anything, right? Yeah. So it's very important to be like, well, I'm really good at these areas, but these specific areas are where I'm struggling.
Yeah. And your mentor can be, it doesn't necessarily mean somebody you hired, right? In business, we have, in companies, you have higher ups that mentor people who are lower down if they seriously show that they want to advance in their career. And the same is thing for business, right? If you belong to, say, if you're a woman, sometimes there's women's clubs, business clubs where you can go and talk to professional women and get their information, or you can belong to the Lions Club. There's mentors there that can help you, or you belong to the Rotary Club if you're local a business, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, I paid $15,000 for a mentor, right? Or it could be somebody that you pay $100 a month to help you just guide. It's okay to put a little bit of an investment in yourself, and it's also okay to understand that not every mentor is going to have to cost you a lot to get it done. So,
yeah. And then, of course, celebrate your wins, right? What's the point of all of this if you're not able to sit back and enjoy the little wins?
Yeah. And if you're tracking them, you'll know what they are.
All right. So what are the analytics and the metrics, right? What is it we should be looking at? Well, there's a lot, obviously, depending on what your goal is, but we're just going to start with some of the most basic ones when it comes to digital marketing. And so this is a big one for everybody, traffic metrics, right? Your page views, whether it be website or social media, unique visitors. This is people who have found you versus maybe people that you directly sent your link to. Then bounce rate. Bounce rate shows you the percentage of visitors who are leaving. This is a big one because if you don't know what's driving people away from your website, you can potentially have a problem, right? Clarity is a new tool that I got my hands on not too long ago that is fantastic. It shows you a heat map of how far down your page people are scrolling. One of their metrics is rage clicks, which cracks me up because I've been there where you're clicking the button and nothing's working. So maybe you have a dead button that you didn't know about. This will tell you. And it just gives you a whole lot of insight. Good morning, Mustafa. It gives you a whole bunch of insight of why people might be leaving your website, including even load speed, right? Load speed is so critical. Every second drives away a percentage.
Well, yeah, and we've come to the point where we don't have the patience. We're not in the dial-up world anymore. People do not want to wait for anything. So it's having it load quickly, making sure that everything is you don't need, if it's a website, your images don't need to be 300 DPI or even 600 DPI. They don't need to be gigantic. Make them smaller so that they load quickly. And they'll load across different things. When you go to print, that's a whole different story. But online, keep it light, keep it clean. If you're consistent, it makes it easier as well. Don't have a lot of spinning things, all that kind of stuff.
And optimize for mobile.
Yes. Pretty much every builder, see what it looks like in mobile. and also in tablet. They're at least computer, PC and or PC and mobile, but a lot of them have all three as well. So check it out. Make sure that it works.
I stand corrected, Mostafa. Good evening, not good morning. And then engagement, right? Average session duration. So again, Clarity will show you this on a website and you'll see it on your videos and things like that. Like how long are people actually watching your stuff? And then how many pages are they going through? So this is more specific for like built out Shopify stores and stuff like that, or really complex websites. Are they going to the main page and going, cool, and leaving? Or are they going to the main page and then going to your product catalog and then going to your about section? What is interesting these people?
You'll find those analytics as well. They're built into WordPress has it. Google Analytics carries a lot of that information. I believe that even Metricool carries a lot of that information. We'll show you which pages they're on and stuff like that. As far as your videos, pretty much any of your social medias will show your analytics as to when people are dropping off in terms of if they're watching your stuff or whatnot, or if they've engaged with, obviously, if they've engaged with a post more or not.
And then the big one for most people in the digital marketing space, of course, is conversion metrics. So your conversion rate, your cost per acquisition, your customer lifetime value. If you're doing e-commerce, your average cart value, all these things are super, super important.
Yeah, and I know that Go High Level tracks a lot of that if you have your shop, you're running your shop through them. And I'm pretty sure, I know that WooCommerce does the same thing. I'm positive that Shopify also has some metrics there. And usually, if you are able to take the time, that information and how to actually read that information is going to be in a help document for each of those different platforms.
Yes. And cost per acquisition, stuff like that is going to come in real handy when you're looking at meta ads or Google ads, stuff like that, because you want to know if you're paying more per lead than you're potentially making back, right? Because that's how you determine if you have a positive ROI or a negative ROI. There's just so many uses for these kinds of metrics.
And also factor in your time. Your time is a metric as well, right? So if it's taking you a lot longer, yes, you're getting something out of it, but how much time are you putting into it just to get a very small return on that investment? Because your time has value too. And I think people forget that sometimes. I know I do.
Fair enough. So we kind of talked about Google Analytics, social media insights. Obviously, these are going to be great for letting you know like when your audience is the most active, when you're most likely to get the most engagement. And if you're someone who's going for like performance bonuses or Reels bonuses, if for those that's come back for, stuff like that is going to be super important. And it's also going to allow you to track your follower growth. YouTube's good for this too. If this video brought in this many subscribers, because then you can decide, well, this is what my audience seems to like, and this is what the new audience is liking too. So how do I make more content like that to keep my followers engaged or my audience engaged? And then email marketing tools, you want to know that people are opening your emails, right? This one is huge. This one was actually game changing for me recently because my open rate on my first email that went out in one of my automations was getting less open rates than the second email. And the problem was a lot of the key information was in the first email. So the second email, we changed to reiterate all the information that was in the first one. And we've seen a massive uptick in engagement and availability and clarity for the newer signups for our program. So super, super excited. But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have the ability to see if the emails were getting opened.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also allows you, those metrics also show you how much is getting bounced out, people who haven't opened your emails in a long time, so that you can clean them out so that your list stays clean and doesn't get affected, and you don't have troubles with your email providers and so on and so forth. So
yeah, nothing's fun about getting a blocked email address when you're doing email marketing.
Nope. No, because that's not going to work out well for you.
Nope. With all these metrics, don't get lost in what we call vanity metrics. There are metrics that are not going to really matter at all that will get shown to you. And then prioritize your actionable metrics, right? Like look at the insights they provide and let that guide your decision making. If you have a really high bounce rate, maybe your email verification is off, right? Maybe you did solo ads and it's a lot of crap emails. Make sure you have those kind of things turned on to avoid those kind of problems and avoid your autoresponder getting banned or anything like that.
And with your vanity metrics, this goes back to just because one video went viral where it was like goofy or silly and had nothing to do with your business doesn't mean that you do a ton of those because they have nothing to do with your business, right? You want the engagement. And just because a lot of people click like doesn't mean that they're engaging. Your engagement is more important than, oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're trying to get the engagement numbers up, not just the I like it or I saw it.
Yeah. And then, of course, patterns and trends. You want to see what's working, what's not on a regular. And this goes back to time of day, but you can see how people are engaging on the time of day. Segmenting your audience. So you can use analytics to really break down that by segments. And then maybe you've got two programs. Maybe one's a little more lighthearted and one's for a little bit more serious entrepreneurs. You can use that to make sure you're sending the right program to the right people if you're doing multiple programs. And then A/B testing, of course, which we talk about all the time.
Yep. You don't know if you don't test it, right? It gives you an opportunity to see what works better. And that helps too with when you're doing your segmentation, right? Maybe both tests go well, but one hits a different group of people for a different reason. Right?
Yeah.
So again, just gives you that opportunity. And that all falls in with the tracking. As above, tracking your progress, tracking your failures. Well, not failures, stumbles. I don't like the word failures unless failure is just when you decided to stop trying. Mistakes are not failures, they're opportunities.
Yes. And you can fail up. You don't always have to fail down.
Yep, that's opportunity.
Exactly. Different ways to say it.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, set your benchmarks, set your goals, monitor it regularly. If you're like me and you can get very hyper fixated on monitoring, I actually have a episode on how not to hyper fixate on data in my Making Finances Sexy podcast. So go check that out. Monitor regularly, but don't get too distracted by the data because then you will, again, not be making the right moves because you won't be making moves because you'll just be reading the data. And use dashboards. Whatever you need to do to consolidate that data, like Facebook ads, you can customize the columns that you want to see. So you can only have the data that's important to you. But you can do it in an Excel sheet. You can do it in Google. There's lots of different ways that you can set it up.
I'm sure you could probably find one in Notion that gets it all set up for you so that you don't have to, welcome to the great outdoors. But yeah, so I know that probably Notion or even Canva or Etsy, you'll find if you don't want to go and build one yourself, they'll have something for you, I'm pretty sure.
So how do you take action with all these analytics? Well, optimize what's underperforming or just turn it off, right? If you have an ad, let's say you're doing an ad campaign and you've got two different creatives and Facebook is sending all the money to one and not a lot of money to the other, turn the other one off completely. If you still want to test that one out on its own, then make a new campaign with just that one. But what we see a lot is people are hesitant to turn something off that isn't working. New landing pages, right? Oh, this landing page has a 30% opt-in rate, but this one has a 5%. So maybe this one can get better. Nope, turn it off or edit it, try to make it better, whatever it is. Don't be afraid to pull that trigger. Double down on what works. Obviously, this is how you scale. You look at it and go, okay, my ads right now, I do not like the video that's running. I think there's much better videos that I've done, but that video works. So that's where the bulk of my ad spend goes because for whatever reason, that video works.
I was going to say we have to sometimes take ourselves out of the equation in terms of what we like because it's not about what we like, right?
No, it's about our audience, right? And that's the thing is we can so often get lost in, well, I know what I'm selling and I know the audience I'm trying to reach. And sometimes that's just not who you're communicating with, whether it be your communication style, it's not as clear as you think it is, or maybe somebody stumbled upon your page and shared it with their friends and now you've got this whole other demographic that you didn't even expect. This is why you have to stay agile, which was the last point I was about to make as well, is you don't necessarily know. You think you know, but the data will tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Don't do all your changes. You go in the emotion out.
Well, we're emotional creatures, right? Even our most logical people. You might not know that the emotions are running you, but they're there. They're making you make decisions that you're like, what the hell is wrong with me?
Right. Well, and that's the difference between the people that quit and the people that keep going, right? Is the people who quit are the ones who are like, well, this was like my heart and soul, and I don't know what else to do. And the other ones are going to be the ones who are like, okay, well, I thought it should look like this, but my audience is saying it should look like this. So let me try this. Or the data is saying that it should look like this. And I have a saying with a couple other entrepreneurs that I really like, which is 3 years from when you start your business, you don't even recognize your business. Because the idea is great. The idea is what gets planted, but what grows and what evolves is typically so far beyond what you expect it to be. You've rearranged the setup probably 8 times. You've brought people in, you fired other people. There's so many moving parts, and that's why you have to stay agile. Is the market changes, how we advertise changes, how people consume data changes, and so how your product is going to be enticing to people is going to change.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all you have to do is look back 3 years and see what was going on and what was popular then versus what is going on and what's popular now. Even if you've only been in it a year, what they said was the way, this is the way 18 months ago is not the way today. So you have to be willing to evolve, but you have to be willing to evolve pretty much in anything that you do in life, right? If you're not ready to evolve, you're going to get left behind and it's going to hurt. So
yeah, the only constant is change.
Don't hang on so tight that it hurts.
So that's kind of it, guys. The data is super helpful. Don't let it overwhelm you. Learn to read it. And if you get good enough at reading it, that's when you can start making projections. And some of the biggest paid people in the industry are the ones that can project the trends and get out ahead of them. So there's a lot of money to be made if you know how to analyze data properly.
And even if that isn't your jam, you still need to understand the basics of it. And there are tools out there. You just have to look. Even AI helps analyze and do some forecasting for you. So just because it may not be your forte doesn't mean you shouldn't at least understand what it is. And I mean, overall, don't overanalyze the steps that you're taking to get where you're going. You use your analytics to support you and help you and to make you grow. So overthinking will kill you.
Think of it this way. If a bear is running at you and you're standing there going, well, if I run north, this could happen. If I run south, this could happen. If I run west, this could happen. If I run east, I'm running directly at this bear. Eventually, you're not going to move and the bear's going to be on top of you.
They're not as cuddly as they look.
No, they're not, unfortunately. They taste good, though.
Yes, they do. Which we've offended how many people just right there. I love it.
Legally obtained, of course.
So what next week we've decided to talk about the buyer's journey.
Kind of caveating what we've been talking about, right? Of you might think your audience's pain points or your client's pain points or your customer's pain points, but do you really?
Yes. Because what we think is not necessarily what we know.
Or what we've created, right? Sometimes we think we've made it very clear and we really haven't. That's my biggest problem.
So next week, we're going to talk about the buyer's journey from interest to actual purchase and what that looks like and how that is going to, having that understanding within your own business is going to help you get from that A to Z and create clients for life versus a one-off runaway. So I think that's it. It's been an adventure.
It has. Yeah, I hope your power comes back on soon.
We're not there yet, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. And it's funny because we are first on the grid because the power station is just down there. So we are actually literally first on the grid. So when it does come back on, we'll be here.
Awesome. Bye, guys. Have a great Friday. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, of course, let us know. If you have any topics you want us to cover, let us know. If you need help with data analysis, absolutely let us know. If we can't help you, we will, of course, find who can.
And if you need a little push, you need a cheerleader, I'm your gal. I'm more than happy to help you do that. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can keep up with all things Dark Roast.
Yes.
Have a great Friday.